All right, first player we got up is Andre Drummond as our underrated players this year. This is number 10, so this is not the most underrated player thus far, but he's number 10 on my list. Why? Why Andre Drummond? I did, on my main channel, I talked about Andre Drummond. I said he was a buyout guy that was signing 1 year vet minimum deals. I said that he was barely holding on to a roster spot, which he's not. He's actually good because he's getting 13 minutes a game, which is not end of the bench. And he's pretty much got into, how many games has he played? He's played in 21 games. So I believe that's all of the Bulls games. So he's playing a lot. He's a valuable part of that team. Why? Only 13 minutes. His player efficiency rating is 21.5, which is really high. I think it's 30th in the league. Granted, he is not playing as much as a guy like Domantas Sabonis or Nikola Jokic, who I believe is at 29, but that's unreal. Player efficiency rating tends to favor centers, so that's why Andre might be really high up there. People have kind of like thrown it away recently because it favors centers, and Jokic has a really high one. I heard that from Brian Windhorst today when I was listening to his podcast, but 21.5, really good. 6.5 rebounds in 13 minutes is really good, too. For a center, I'm thinking like, I don't know, like 13? What are they averaging? Like a solid center has about 13 rebounds a game, and if you're getting 6.5 in only 13 minutes, pretty good. Pretty good for Andre Drummond. And his player impact estimate, let's look up like league leaders and player impact estimate, but his is at 14.6, which we're going to go through a lot of the NBA, our list. We're going to go through a lot of people on this list are going to go through their player impact estimate, and you're going to see how good Andre Drummond's is. Player impact estimate is basically just taking into account when you're on the court, how much impact do you have on your winning or your team in general. So, okay, 22.4 for reference is Nikola Jokic, and Drummond is at 14.6. So it's not bad. And, okay, so number 10 is 16.3, Bam Adebayo. Again, centers tend to favor this, but Andre Drummond is good for the minutes that he's in. And all the players that we're going to go through here are going to be guys that, some starters, some not, but mostly non-starters. So these are sort of the unsung heroes, because generally these are going to be on teams that are good. Granted, the Bulls aren't good. So I think Andre Drummond is going to be a guy at the trade deadline. Teams that need a backup center are going to be trying to trade for. Who's that? Maybe, I don't know, maybe the Mavericks? The Mavericks need a center? I think the Heat always need a center. Of course, last year they grabbed Cody Zeller. He was decent for them. I love the Heat. The Heat are the most efficient organization. I think we're not going to get into this. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to the next player, who is Luke Kornet. Luke Kornet is awesome because Luke Kornet, he's played in only 14 games, and he, like Drummond, has played 13 minutes a game. You may say, why is he on this list? Because his field goal percentage, his effective field goal percentage, which is an advanced stat, what effective field goal percentage is versus field goal percentage is it includes three-pointers, and it includes the fact that three-pointers are more valuable than two-pointers. So that's added into the equation. So your effective field goal percentage, if you're shooting a lot of threes and you're making them, is going to be higher. So Kornet hasn't shot 1 3 this entire season. So he's making a lot of easy twos. And his pie is 12.1, still really good. So the impact he has on those 13 minutes on the court is good. He's doing really well. So if you're a general manager of an NBA team watching the channel, keep that in mind. Luke Kornet, if you need a guy for backup center minutes because guys get tired, look no further than Luke Kornet. I love this animation of Luke Kornet. It's sick, where he just lands on the court and the shrapnel goes everywhere. It's pretty cool. Also, do you remember Luke Kornet? I'm not going to put the video in, but look up Luke Kornet. His like blocking strategy, what he'll do is he'll jump in front of the hoop. He'll visually impair you. So if he's a guy shooting a three-pointer and he's doing the rim protection, he'll jump in front and he'll block the view of the hoop. which is awesome. And it actually is effective. Somebody looked into it and actually is effective. If they can't see where the rim is, they don't shoot as well. So, Luke Kornet, unsung hero. Dereck Lively II, Dereck Lively II, more like. And his effective field goal percentage, which again has attempted one three-pointer this entire season. Didn't make it, but his effective field goal percentage is 72.2. His true shooting percentage, which again is just a calculation of your free throws, your field goals, and your three-pointers. So it's like kind of a mix of everything. If you hear people talk about true shooting percentage, that's what that is. If they have a really high true shooting percentage, means they're really good at every type of shot. So now you know. So his field goal percentage is really good, and he's getting rebounds. He's getting rebounds 7.8 in 25 minutes a game. He's been really good for them. And 1.5 blocks, which is anytime you mention a stat where the stat is 1, it never really feels that impressive, but steals and blocks are hard to come by. So 1.5 in 25 minutes is really good. He is, I don't have if he's starting a lot of games, but from what I hear, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Let me relay information to you. As a rookie, he's tearing it up. If you can't tell, he's a rookie because I can't find any GIFs of him playing for Dallas, except for the one I have right here. So, underrated. People talk about him a lot, but maybe they talk about him underrated for a rookie, but he's actually underrated as a center in the NBA. Jalen Smith, there's going to be a lot of Pacers on this list, especially because offensive rating, everyone leading the league in offensive rating, because usually it's sort of a team stat. You're going to have a high offensive rating as a player if your team has a high offensive rating. And as you know, the Pacers are scoring a lot. Their defense is okay, but they're scoring a lot of points. So his effective field goal percentage is 80%. He's knocking down a lot. And he shot a couple threes. He averages... so he averages 1.5 three-pointers attempted in a game, and he makes 1. So his three-point percentage is 66.7%, which is unreal, which is crazy, which is 20% better than Steph's career high. Again, he's not shooting that many, but nevertheless, awesome, killing it. And his 10 points a game, playing 15 minutes a game. Jalen Smith is really good. He's a great player, and he's underrated. I assume he's not even starting, so maybe someone will acquire him, or maybe he'll stick around at the Pacers. Typically, I feel like if you've got a guy with this good of numbers, 5.5 rebounds a game. If you have a guy with this good of numbers, and you're only playing him 14 minutes a game, maybe trade him and get something that you need. Maybe. He's on a rookie contract, I believe, still, so he'll stick around on the Pacers. KCP, who I love. I love KCP. As a Lakers fan, I was so disappointed to see him go to the Washington Wizards when we traded for Russ. That was really sad. That sucked because we won the championship, and we were like, all right, we won. No, it was the year after we won the championship. I lied. It was the year we lost to the Suns in the first round of the playoffs. And we thought, you know who the problem is? KCP, Danny Green, Alex Caruso, Taylor Horton-Tucker, we're going to keep around. Anyway, I'm lamenting the Lakers' poor decisions or LeBron's poor decisions. It's not what we're doing here. So, KCP's three-point percentage is 41%. Crazy. Anything over 40, I say, is like Steph level. That's how I describe it, even though I'm not sure exactly what Steph's three-point percentage is this season. So KCP is shooting 3.9 attempts a game, and he's made 1.6. KCP is a 3-and-D guy. He's like your classic 3-and-D guy. I was looking to see if he'd made any all-defensive teams. He has not. But, again, two-time champion. KCP. What else we got? Net rating is 10.9. So net rating isn't plus minus. So what net rating is, it's per 100. It's basically per 100 possessions. If KCP were on the floor for 100%, for 100 possessions, how many more points would his team score over the other team? So taking the amount of points that he would score per 100 possessions, which there are typically 100 possessions in an NBA game, if he was on the court for all of them, the Nuggets would win by almost 11 points, which is great, which is a killer net rating. Now you know what it is. And never forget free throws. Free throw percentage is 92.7. That's amazing. That's almost like Lena Del Don, the greatest free throw shooter of all time, interestingly enough, is a WNBA player. So, moving on. Derrick White. I feel like Derrick White is sort of this standard underrated player because he's hard to look at and think this guy's exceptional. He's going to be really awesome, and I have high expectations for him because he looks young. He looks like a very young guy, but he's not. He's like 28 or something. He has kids of his own. So I think he kind of falls into the space of like, can you believe how good Derrick White is? And of course, yeah, he's a great NBA player. So he's 41% three-point percentage. That's, again, Steph levels. Anything over 40, I say, is Steph levels because he's averaging 2 makes a game. So he's making 2 3-pointers a game, and he's shooting 5.4. So he has a good percentage, and he's shooting them. He's playing 32 minutes a game. He's a starter on the team, and he should be. He shouldn't be a 6th man of the year candidate because he's a starter. Played in 16 games, 17 points in 32 minutes. So 17 points on a team where you have Jaylen Brown on your team, you have Jason Tatum on your team, but you're still putting up 17. You're getting 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, almost a block. It's filling in the holes, as I say, filling in the cracks. Those are like crack stats. Those are sort of the stats that you need a guy that's your 5th guy, your 5th option on a team to be getting. Derrick White. Isaiah Joe. Y'all, do you know who Isaiah Joe is? You've heard the name because you hear a lot about the Oklahoma City Thunder because they're playing very well this season. Yeah, you know Shea. You know Lou Dort. You know Chet Holmgren. You probably know Isaiah Joe as well. So he's played in 19 games, 20 minutes, and he's getting 11 points in less than 21 minutes a game. Very good. That is great. And then 16 net rating, meaning if he were on the court for 100 possessions, which he would never be on the court for 100 possessions because he's only playing 21 minutes a game, the Oklahoma City Thunder would win by 16 points. So net rating is a really great indicator of how good a person is playing and what they can do for a team. Granted, OKC is very good, so you have to take in consideration the fact that the people surrounding him are pretty much excellent basketball players too, but he's playing with the second unit. And OKC's second unit, also better than most teams' second unit. So let's keep it pushing. Myles Turner. Now we're getting into more Pacers. The Pacers have a lot of players that are, we're going to say, underrated. I think there are going to be there should be a lot of Pacers All-Stars. So now let's get into it. Offensive rating. So offensive rating is I forget what the average offensive rating is, but we're gonna look. I'm gonna take a look at the highest offensive rating right now is Tyrese Halliburton. Okay, at 126.7. Myles Turner 125.7. Let's look up offensive rating. Here's the thing. the NBA.com frustrates me because they show you offensive rating, but there is, or anything like assist ratio, whatever these stats are, and they don't describe them because it feels like somebody else came up with them, maybe Stat Genius or something, or 365, whatever the name of that one company is. They came up with them, and then they came up with the formula, but they don't actually know what it is because the NBA doesn't really care about that stuff. So offensive proficiency rating, or offensive production efficiency, is a statistic. This is so stupid. Is a statistic used in basketball to measure either a team's offensive. Of course, no shit. Okay, here's the calculation. So it's your team possessions plus the opposing team's possessions multiplied by your points divided by 100. Okay, so not very helpful. Really, what we're just going to get into is comparing it to other guys. And since it's kind of a team stat in general, because there's the team component to it, there are a lot of Pacers. There are a lot of Pacers in this category. Because the best offense in the league, by far, I'm just going to tell you. So, Tyrese Halliburton, highest offensive rating. Bruce Brown, another Pacer, second highest. Myles Turner with our 125.7, third highest. Okay, all right, well, now we're going to break it up with the guy that's not. No, we're not. It's actually another Pacer with 125.3. And then the next is another Pacer with 123.7. And then we have the greatest player in the league, Nikola Jokic. Pacers have an incredible offense. And part of that is Myles Turner. He's playing 27 minutes a game, which for a starting center, I would assume he would play more than that. But maybe I don't know. I would assume he would play more. 27 minutes a game for Myles Turner isn't a lot. But he's getting 17 points a game in those 27 minutes. Again, I don't really know why he's not getting more minutes. Averaging 8 rebounds. He should actually have more rebounds. For a starting center in the NBA, you should have more rebounds than 8 rebounds. Nevertheless, he does take threes, 32.9%. Again, for a center, it's pretty good. And also just having a center that is willing to take a three and can shoot over 30% opens up the floor for a lot of other guys. So you have to consider that if there is a center that can shoot threes or is shooting threes, has attempts, and is making some of them, you may think, oh, 32%, he better stop shooting those. Not necessarily. The fact that he will shoot it means someone has to come out and defend him and keep him honest. So keep that in mind. Next, we got Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown, offensive rating, again, second highest in the league. Net rating, 4.1. Interesting. Net rating, not as high as those guys from Oklahoma City. But Bruce Brown, when he's on the court, is going to get you a win, but not by as much as like Isaiah Joe, necessarily. And he's getting 13 points a game with 31 minutes. Kind of 31.8 is an average starter's minutes. So 13 points a game. So what actually is making him exceptional? Well, he's at 3 assists, 4 rebounds a game, and a steal. Again, these are crack-filling stats. And then he shoots threes. He's shooting at 36.2% clip, which I think would be league average. I'll have to look into that, see if that is actually league average. But again, high power offense. And yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about for Bruce Brown. I've talked about it before, but his contract, perfect contract. Let's look at his contract. It's a 2-year player option. Well, now, should I get into this again? It's a great contract for him. Basically, it incentivizes him to be good. And then the Pacers, if he's not good, they can cut him loose. And he can go back to Denver and win a couple championships, not making a lot of money, if that's what he wants to do. Kyle Anderson is my number 1. Because his defensive rating is good. I bet you didn't know that Kyle Anderson has the highest defensive rating in the league. Granted, he is on a team with a lot of good defenders, so bear in mind, it's not just Kyle Anderson, it's the whole damn team. But there's no one else on the Minnesota Timberwolves that has a great defensive rating. You know, it's Jae'Sean Tate. He doesn't play for them. He plays for the Rockets. R.J. Barrett, Jordan Goodwin. Who's Jordan Goodwin play for? I don't even know. He plays for the Suns. So, Kyle Anderson, slow-mo. I love that people call him slow-mo because you do watch him play, and it shows you that athleticism is, obviously it's important, but footwork and intelligence is sort of, on offense, going to win over brute strength and ability to jump really high. And his net rating is 4. Again, these aren't crazy net ratings. Typically, the net ratings that I was showing you that were really high are guys that are in the second unit because, for whatever reason, the way the rotation may go, that player may be playing against players that aren't as good. So Kyle Anderson, being a starter, playing 24 minutes a game, is going to be going up against the best unit of every team. Still, that being said, if you played him 100 possessions, if you played him all 100 possessions a game, you'd win by 4. So that's pretty good. He's averaging 4 assists in 19 minutes a game. That's great. 7 points, nothing crazy. Again, these are your crack filler guys. The guys that are getting it done, filling in the cracks, filling in the spaces. Kyle Anderson. So Kyle Anderson is my number 1 crack filling, underrated player so far. Field goal percentage 50%, nothing crazy, but for a power forward, that's pretty good. A power forward, a small forward with 50%, because those guys aren't taking close to the basket field goals. Field goal is anything that isn't a three-pointer. So, excellent. Thank you for being here. Be good to your mothers.